The rain was coming down in sheets now, wind snatching at Elena's hair and whipping it across her face. Each flash of lightning illuminated the dark water that was quickly pooling around her feet. But she didn't feel the cold seeping into her clothes or the growing weight of the water. She was too busy staring at the glass display case in front of her, watching the horrifying scene being played out before her eyes. As another bolt of lightning flashed, Elena's reflection didn't move in sync. Instead, it smiled. A cruel, mocking smile that sent shivers down Elena's spine. Then the reflection raised a hand slowly, deliberately, pressing it against the glass. Her real hand twitched, as if trying to do the same. Elena stumbled back, but the reflection didn't vanish. It lingered, lips curling into a grin that was somehow sharper than any teeth should allow. Her mind screamed at her, telling her this was impossible, that reflections couldn't do that reflections weren't supposed to have a will of their own. But what Elena was seeing was very real. The longer she watched, the more the scene playing out inside the display case filled her with dread. She backed away, nearly tripping over her own feet, and pressed herself against the cool stone wall. But there was nowhere else for her to go. The narrow hallway offered no escape from what she was witnessing. Trapped between the relentless rain and the display case, Elena felt a cold tendril of fear wrap around her heart, and then the reflection began to speak. Its voice was like nails on a chalkboard, grating and distorted, yet somehow she understood every word. "Can't hide," it hissed, its lips barely moving as though it feared disturbing the fragile barrier between them. Nowhere left to run. With each word, the smile on the reflection's face widened, stretching unnaturally, impossibly, until Elena could see the whites of its teeth, rows upon rows of them, far more than any mouth should contain. A choked sob escaped her lips. She wanted to scream, to call for help, but terror had frozen her in place. In the reflection, the creature's head snapped toward her, and Elena flinched as it opened its mouth in what seemed like a silent scream. His tongue flicked out, tasting the air, and Elena smelled the stench of decay, the reek of a grave long dug. Then the creature moved. It flowed through the glass as easily as if it were water, emerging on her side, dripping with rainwater. Its skin pale and corpse-like against the gray backdrop. Elena's breath hitched in her throat as it glided closer, its eyes, black pits of nothingness, boring into her. She wanted to flee, to put as much distance between them as possible, but her legs felt heavy, anchored to the spot. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. All she could do was watch in numb terror as the creature approached. Its movements were fluid, unnatural, like the way smoke rises, or a flame dances. It stopped inches away from her, close enough for her to see the glistening fangs that lined its mouth. Close enough for her to smell the stench of death that clung to it, close enough for her to feel the icy touch of its gaze boring into her skull. It tilted its head as if studying her, and Elena felt a primal fear grip her, the kind that made her entire body tremble. She wanted to run, to claw, to bite, to do anything except stand there frozen in terror. But just as the creature was about to strike, vanishing into the recesses of the castle seemed like a distant memory. As if sensing her fear, the creature let out a low growl that rumbled in its chest like distant thunder. Then it struck. Elena cried out, squeezing her eyes shut, bracing for the worst. But instead of pain, she felt a tug. A sharp, sudden tug that made her yelp and scramble backward. Something wet and cold brushed against her cheek, leaving a trail of goosebumps in its wake. When she dared to open her eyes, she found the creature gone. In its place was a single raven, its feathers slick with rainwater, its eyes gleaming with an intelligence that sent a shiver down Elena's spine. The raven cocked its head, regarding her with a piercing stare, then spread its wings and let out a harsh caw that echoed through the empty halls. Elena stared back, her mind struggling to comprehend what she had just experienced. Had she imagined it? Was this some elaborate trick of the light and shadow? Or was she truly in the presence of something otherworldly, something that lurked in the darkest corners of the castle, feeding on fear and despair? She reached up, touching her cheek where the creature's breath had brushed against her skin. It was still wet, the coldness lingering like a phantom limb. Elena closed her eyes, trying to shake off the feeling, trying to convince herself that none of it had ever happened. But when she opened them again, the raven was still there, perched on the edge of the display case, its obsidian eyes fixed on her. Slowly, hesitantly, Elena took a step back. She needed to get away from here, to put as much distance between her and the raven as possible. As she turned to leave, she caught her reflection in a puddle on the floor. For a moment, she saw only herself, her hair plastered to her face with sweat, her eyes wide with fear. And then she saw it, a faint outline superimposed over her reflection. The unmistakable shape of the creature that had emerged from the display case. It was standing right behind her, its presence a chilling reminder of the danger that lurked so close. Elena gasped, whirling around, half expecting to find the creature there, but it was gone. Was she truly alone, or was the creature toying with her, keeping just out of sight, relishing in her fear? Elena's heart pounded against her ribs, each thud echoing in her ears like a death knell. She had to get out of there, but every direction seemed to lead deeper into the labyrinthine halls of the castle. Every turn offering the promise of more shadows and lurking horrors. With trembling hands, Elena pushed aside a heavy velvet curtain, hoping to find an exit, but instead, she found herself in a vast, dusty library. Thousands of ancient books lined the shelves, their leather covers cracked and peeling, their titles indecipherable. The air was heavy with the scent of mildew and decay, and Elena felt a sudden urge to flee, as if the very walls were closing in on her, suffocating her with their musty stench. She rushed toward a set of double doors at the far end of the room, desperate for a breath of fresh air, for a glimpse of the sun, for anything that would break the oppressive gloom. As she pushed open the doors, hoping to find an exit, she was met with a sight that made her freeze in her tracks. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving behind a sky as dark as ink, and not a single star to pierce the oppressive blackness. The gardens were a tangled mess of thorns and weeds, the fountains choked with debris, the statues toppled and broken. In the center of the courtyard, Elena saw it, a towering oak tree, its gnarled branches clawing at the sky, its leaves withered and brown, long dead. Beneath the tree, a single raven perched on a broken gargoyle, its head cocked, regarding her with an unnerving stare. Elena's heart sank. She was trapped, imprisoned within the confines of a cursed castle, stalked by a creature that defied explanation, that mocked her with its otherworldly grin, that taunted her with its chilling touch. And as the darkness around her deepened, she knew that she was in grave danger. Elena fled, racing through the overgrown gardens, desperate to escape the clutches of the creature that haunted her every waking moment. She stumbled over gnarled tree roots, her feet aching, her lungs burning, the raven's raucous laughter echoing in her ears, driving her forward, fueling her terror. As the night wore on, Elena's hope of escape dwindled. The castle, once a symbol of grandeur, now seemed like a prison, its looming walls determined to keep her captive forever. The raven led her through a maze of moonlit paths, past crumbling statues and stagnant pools. Its presence, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked around every corner. Suddenly, the raven landed on a broken marble fountain, its head cocked as if listening to something beyond Elena's hearing. When it took flight, soaring into the inky expanse above, Elena knew she was being led to a trap. Yet she followed, driven by a morbid curiosity and a desperate hope that she might find a way out of this nightmare. The raven circled above her, its silhouette a dark omen against the fading moonlight, until it finally disappeared into the gloom. Elena hesitated, torn between the desire to escape and the chilling premonition that she was walking into a deadly snare. With a deep breath, she forced herself to move forward, each step echoing ominously in the stillness. As she rounded a corner, she found herself in a clearing. And in the center of the clearing stood a mausoleum, its marble surface overgrown with moss and lichen, its iron gates twisted and rusted. A sense of foreboding washed over Elena, yet she couldn't tear her eyes away from the mausoleum as if drawn by an unseen force. The raven's harsh croak shattered the silence, and Elena whirled around, half expecting to find the creature perched on a nearby statue, reveling in her terror. But the raven was gone. Elena stood frozen, caught between the promise of escape and the chilling realization that she might be walking into a deadly trap.